got a gift, my friend. You got a gift. Oh, yeah.
Hey, who'd you talk to? What's going on? It is me, Mike Lepre, King Mike L. This is Legit Paranormal, brought to you by LegitPodcast.com. Sunday night, yes it is. Yes it is again. A brand new week lays ahead. It is March 12th, 2023, which is 0312-2023 for the math geeks. There's a lot for us there. 2 times 3 is 6. Minus 1 is... I get nothing, actually. 4. I can't get anything out of it. Joining me, however, is Buddy Money. There. What's up, buddy?
Good evening, Mike. How you doing tonight?
Oh, I'm just chipper.
Oh, I'm chipper as well. I'm a very purpley type of mood. I have a purple T-shirt on. I have a purple beer that I'm drinking tonight from the lovely city of Warwick, Rhode Island. Proclamation Ale Company brings us KDA. It's a double IPA. It's absolutely delicious. It's oh god, let's see. It's a whopping 8.8% alcohol by volume. It would knock Joey Paranormal on his little pants, and it's an absolutely delicious beer for an absolutely purpley guest this week.
But it's not purple. The beer itself isn't.
It's
purple.
not a purple beer. No, it's very. While it's not clear. It's a little misty. It's very delicious, and
we don't have to discuss it. We don't want to discuss
purple.
And
Yeah.
We don't need to discuss its density. I was going to say that if it is purple, you're drinking grape juice. That's all I wanted to tell you. That's
right. No,
that's where I draw the line there. Hey, joining us from the lair of the cool, it's Joey Paranormal. What's up, Joe?
Hey, what's going on, guys?
Hey, Joe. Long time no see, dude.
Yeah, back from my newest vacation.
How you doing? You looking good. You look like you've been working out.
No, I've just been eating a little bit better.
There you go.
That's the start anyway. But I appreciate it.
Yeah,
and drinking a lot more of the high noons too. So that's low calorie, no sugar.
Yeah, you know what? Maybe that does save me, buddy. The fact that I'm not a big beer guy, right?
Right.
You know, as opposed to like all the hard drugs. You
know, that's what got me in the first place. Is COVID hit, and I started just drinking a lot of IPAs, and it just never left.
No, I've never been, not a big guy, just not a big beer drinker. However, I don't know if she's a big beer drinker. There's a weird segue. Joining us is Dale. Hi, Dale. How are you?
Good. I am a beer drinker, but I like wine too.
The thing is with wine, though, you kind of sip it, right? Like wine's not something you chug. I've noticed. Like I noticed that when someone gives me wine, I'm done far quicker than everybody else. So I know I did it wrong. You know what I mean? You know you did it wrong. You're sitting there with the empty glass. They're all like,
yes, you're supposed to enjoy the taste. Yes. Supposed to sit on your palate and enjoy your taste and all that kind of stuff. But I
mouthfeel.
Yeah.
I come from like I remember URI days where it was like not even, it just had beer on the can. And you just, it didn't matter. You drank as fast as you could. Now, buddy, I know you're ready to do an introduction.
I am very ready to do the introduction.
Yeah, and here's the thing, right? Every week, I'm not sure you're ready to do the introduction. I'll be honest, because you be honest. You're not sure if you're ready to do the introduction.
Most of the times, I butcher the names. Most of the time.
But I know you're going to, I'm
willing to bet I'm going to nail this one, but
all right.
Famous last words.
This is our 110th episode of Legit Paranormal. We are very happy to be joined Oh my God. Gifted visionary artist, internationally acclaimed channel and spiritual psychic medium, public speaker, teacher, best-selling author of And Then There Was Heaven, A Journey of Hope and Love. 16 minutes. When one breath ends, another begins. Signs of Spirit, the purple papers, as you'll see behind me. I have many, and their stories. Including the one-man stage show, Heavenly Experience, and host of the new YouTube TV show. Please welcome to the show, big drum roll, please, Roland Comtois.
Yeah, great job, buddy. Woo! Great job.
Wow.
Hey, Mike,
Wow.
and Joey and Dale, thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here. I can't believe 3 years I haven't seen anyone, done anything, but I'm glad to start with you guys because it's very thrilling to be here to talk about those purple papers and everything else we're going to talk about in the time that we have together. And beautiful job, pronouncing my name. Beautiful job, buddy.
So Roland, here's the thing. So
Now tell me, what's the thing?
I always think of the weirdest stuff. So I immediately think like last names and like growing up. And my name, I got picked on a lot. My last name is Lepre. So it's Lepre. So if you're in the 80s, you just move the R and the E, and it's the worst nickname you can have growing up, right? So I understand what it's like to have a last name that they can get on you, because I actually got into a fist fight with a bus monitor who's an adult over my name. I had finally had it. It was like, all right, I'm old enough where I don't want to be called this. Let's get thrown in here. So, all right, Roland, here's what I want to ask you, because they all know you. Everyone here knows you.
Yeah.
What I want to know, and I watched some stuff, some interviews you did. I saw some people have agendas and seemed like they were trying to come after you on certain things, which makes no sense. What I want to know is, how do you explain who you are to people?
Well, I'm a guy that feels things. I've been feeling things that are very hard to explain since I've been a child. I saw my grandmother when she was there. She had died 3 days before. I saw energy in rooms that I had no reason to see energy in rooms. I started hearing voices and feeling energy from people I have no idea who they are, who they've ever been. And all of a sudden, whatever it is that I was feeling made sense. So, I'm a guy that just feels the connection between here and whatever exists beyond us. And it's been the same way for decades.
So energy, when you say that, for those of us that have no idea, I speak for the dumb. When you say energy, what are you seeing actually, or what are you feeling body-wise actually? For us to connect to what you're saying, like, what do you give me some sort? You don't have to like Spielberg me, just some idea of kind of what it looks and might feel like.
Well, first, let me step back and say to you that, in my training, I am a nurse. And in my training, we never talked about energy. No nursing professor ever said to me, Roland, you're nothing but energy. I would walk into the class and say, I see energy around you. And they would send me out of the room thinking that I was absolutely crazy. But listen, there's got to be more to us than just the physical aspect that we can see here, that you can see when you look at me. There's got to be more to us. And it's that more to us that I really feel a connection to. It's the part of the soul. It's the part that exudes this vibration. I mean, listen, have you ever, Mike, walked into a room and you had a weird feeling or a weird sensation? Maybe you were picking something up. Maybe you were feeling something present in that space, So I look at it from, we're more than just the physical being. There's more that defines who we are. And it's that place where I do this communication.
Okay.
All
right. Buddy, I good?
And when I look at someone, I'm seeing energy around them. I'm feeling, start hearing these voices, seeing images passing through my mind. And then I do something with that energy, with that feeling, with that sensation, with that awareness. I do something with that.
So that's it. So that all right. So that brings me to a question before I kick it, a buddy. So that throws me to the whole, when you get yourself into a spot where you pray, meditate, whatever anyone wants to call it, when you get in that moment where you're able to clear your mind and everything comes flooding in and you just start writing this stuff down, what are you physically doing, like to yourself, to get into any kind of calm state that's like that? Like seriously, breathing techniques, like what anything that you can share, because like I would love to know like how I could sit down and be calm.
But that's a fair question. I mean, it does, in the world that we live in now, sometimes it takes a lot of work to get calm. The world is chaotic at best. And to try to calm the energy or the space within, you really have to go within yourself. And for me to be able to articulate all of these purple paper messages, I have to find that space within. So I sit quietly, right? Pray, meditate, sitting quiet, going within myself, listening to nice, peaceful music. All that kind of stuff allows me to get out of my own thinking, out of my ego, and into a space that, again, that space that is a part of who I am. Because like I said a minute ago, I think we're more than physical beings. And it's that other aspect that we communicate with each other, at that other space.
So I think music plays a huge part in that. As I kick it over to Buddy, I really think that music is a way to hear other things and lose your thoughts and lose yourself and be able to. That's like, to me, when I listen to music, is the best way to clear my head. And the heavier the music, more chaotic the music, the calmer I am. Buddy,
I agree.
Oh my God. Okay. Oh Christ, I have a million questions.
Yeah, you just go at one.
You can start with my first one. So over the years, people ask me as a paranormal investigator if I work with mediums. I'm like, yes, of course I work with mediums. And they ask me, they talk about different mediums that they know. They talk about different people that they know. And I reference you, and I reference other mediums that I've known throughout the years who have been like intensely accurate. So when I say intensely accurate,
you got props?
Yo,
is he doing a carrot top on us? What's going on?
I don't know. It looks like he's taking a little stroll through the woods to find some of his papers.
He needs to organize his props.
All right, yeah, it's this one. All right, it's this one in particular.
Go ahead.
All right, it's dated 6/28/2019. That's I'd say probably 5 weeks after Heather passed away. Not honestly, it's no fuck. What am I saying? I'm sorry. It's like a month. It's almost a month to the day. She died on the 27th of May that year. You said in here, Heather says my last words were "love you," and those were her last words to me. She looked at me. She says, "Buddy, I love you," and she lost consciousness and she passed away. How do you know those? How do you know this stuff? Right? Like I tell people all the time, like he'll come to you in like an audience of 150 people, and he'll pull you out, and he's direct, and he's like he has no intimacies. He knows like. How do you know this? Please tell us.
Buddy, the real question is, what happened to you when you saw those words? What happened to you when you heard that? How did you change? How did you shift? And and I don't mean to play this off, because when I'm there in front of whatever, I'll never forget being at an audience of 800 people, and there was a woman in the back row, and I knew I had a paper for her, and I could hear. Now look, if this is new to you, then this does sound strange. I mean, I'm in my 60s. I've been trying to figure this out for decades. And that voice was in my head saying something. And that woman in the back row of an audience that large, there it was, a purple paper with the words that her son said to her. How does it happen? Again, you get out of your mind, you get out of your ego, because my ego would say, oh my God, Roland, don't do it. You're going to embarrass yourself, or it's a lie, or you've made it up, right? You're going to get out of that space and listen to that energy. And when that energy, because your wife has a beautiful energy that is palpable. It was palpable before, it's palpable now. It's how you it's how you decide to relate with her. So when you saw the word "love you," I heard the word "love you" on the date that was written, and I put it there. And instead of fighting myself and saying, oh, maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm right, it doesn't matter what I think. It matters what you think. It matters what happens to you in the moment you receive that message. I have been for decades trying to explain the process. I get quiet. I settle myself. I get out of my head. I get out of my emotion. I get out of my ego. I happen to believe that there's something more than just what we see here. And because I believe that, it kind of gives me entrance into that space, into that wonderment, into that energy, into whatever you want to call it. Call it heaven, call it the universe, call it love, call it whatever you want to call it. But I heard your wife's voice say the words that are recorded on that paper. You want to hear something else strange, buddy? I don't have any recollection of it anymore. It was presented, I heard it, I felt it, I gave it to you, and you decide what you need to do with that purple paper. You decide what you need to do.
Buddy, would you like a follow-up question, or can I kick it to Joe?
Oh, kick it to Joe, because I got a ton more.
So as I kick it to Joe, two things, Joe, I want you to take in about what he just said. One, you need to meet Roland's personal trainer.
Yeah.
And two, the ego is not always positive, right? The way he's referring to it as is an ego. It's kind of telling you not to do something. People get that confused. They think it's always telling you to do something. It's telling you sometimes to not do something. Joey, what do you purple paper? Joey, what do you got?
So, you've talked about kind of how you center yourself when you receive these messages. And so these messages come into you. Is there ever a time where it's too much, or where you kind of want to be away from that aspect of it and you do something else to kind of take your mind off of receiving these messages? Maybe, mentally or physically, you're just exhausted from it. Is there something you like to do to kind of ground yourself back to reality as opposed to spiritually?
That's a great question, Joey. It's a fantastic question. I will say that prior to writing on purple paper, I was hearing voices all day long. I thought I was going nuts. And when I was young, my mother would say, I think you better go see Dr. Park. And every time she'd send me to Dr. Park, the family doctor, he said, Roland, you need a girlfriend. He'd say that to me every time I was there. When I said, Dr. Park, I'm not nuts. He said, yes, Roland, you got a problem. And that was the doctor saying I had a problem. So all those voices were loud, overwhelming. And then one day I said, I've got to take them out of my being, out of my presence, out of my awareness. And that's how these purple papers were born. They were born in a way to get out of all of that intensity that comes along with those messages. Now, in my everyday life, I go walk outside, I work in the garden, I get out of it. And I say to them, you know what? I'm off today. I don't feel like talking. I don't feel like getting a message. Can I go back to something though for a minute? You guys said, you said that, what do I do to get into the space? But the question is, what do you do when you go out and do your paranormal investigations? Is there anything you do in preparation to make you who you are in that moment that helps you to be who you really are? I mean, maybe you don't do the same things I do, but I'm sure there's some preparation that allows you or affords you the opportunity to see whatever exists in that world that you're looking through. We're all peeking through some doorway. I'm looking at the people that have passed. You're looking at energy through voices, through images, however you discover them, Buddy, Dale, and Joey, however you make that connection. You're looking through the veil just as I'm looking at the veil. We're just looking at different things or different dimensions of what exists out there.
All right. Let's see. Quick question. How do you know when one of the papers done and it's a new message? In other words, is you just stop? I know this is a dumb question, but I have to ask it. You just stop and you're like, that's the end of that message. And then you know it's the next message coming through. Like, is it turnstile almost in your head?
Yeah, that's another great question. And by the way, some of the questions you guys are asking me, no one has ever asked me before, which I really appreciate. Cheers with my.
That's why we are living.
This is how good it gets at my house. Here, I'll have water. You have your beer. Hold on. Anyways, I sit in front of the paper. I listen. I write, and that's it. It's generally one big purple paper per message. And there have been days when there have been 3 and 4 messages. And there's been a very famous murder case that I felt in the country that I was feeling a lot of energy about. And that was 3 pages long of purple paper messages from the mother and daughters that had passed to the family remaining, you know. So there's all kinds of ways, but generally, Mike, it's one message encompasses that one big purple paper.
All right. Dale.
Roland, I've been to you many times over the years.
Yeah, thanks.
And I just wonder, I mean, not everyone gets a message, right?
No.
Some people sit in the audience and they don't get messages. So why do you think that happens, that some people can come through and other people can't or don't?
Yeah, well, there is over there, wherever there is the loudest guy banging on the door. Let me in. You know, he's loud, he's obnoxious, he won't let go, and his energy is strong. He's going to get in, I think, before the sweet little old lady, because I can hear his voice or feel his energy differently. I also believe that sometimes it isn't the right time, it isn't the right moment. And guess what else? I want to say this right now, live in everyone's presence. You don't need me to talk to your loved ones. I mean, you don't. If anyone ever told you the only way to get a message is to see Roland Comtois, that's bull. It's baloney on every single level. So to get quiet, to get settled, you would hear the same things I'm hearing. I'm quite sure of it. I digress so far off the path, I forgot the question. But
no, I actually thought you were. You know what? I actually thought for a second there, buddy, it filled you in, and you were making fun of me because you said I digress.
Oh, no,
I say that all the time. That's my line. That's my line, Roland.
No.
Roland,
But,
HR Tuesday 11:30. Please be there early. To
all right, fine.
Using my line.
You can
All
have
right.
my permanent seat.
But,
All right.
but back to
Okay.
Dale's question. Sometimes it just isn't the right moment. You know, I remember doing an event. There were 35, 50 people. I don't know the numbers anymore. One person in the room not getting a message. Everybody else gets a message. What do you think that lady felt? She felt abandoned. She felt mad. She was hurt.
Yep.
She was overwhelmed. You know, but it's just the way it is. Sometimes it happens just the way it's supposed to happen. Can I share another story with you, Mike, and you
Please.
guys? It kind of exemplifies what Dale is saying. I was doing an event in Connecticut somewhere, and there was a room of 50 people, and everybody was there doing their thing, and they were just paying attention. And there was one woman so desperate to hear from her father. I didn't hear anything. I didn't feel anything. I walked up to her once, reached in and whispered in her ear something from her father. Well, I have never in my life heard anyone cry as I heard that woman cry. I have never heard it before. And the audience came around that woman and started to help her, started to support her. And someone from the other side of the audience walked over and held that young woman. I don't remember what was said to her. I don't know why she didn't get a purple paper, but I know she received exactly what she was supposed to. And the rest of the audience became benefactors of that woman's healing just by being in that room. So maybe that's part of the answer, Dale.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Well, because there's been plenty of times when I've been in a room with you and not necessarily gotten a personal message, but I've also heard you give a message to someone else that I could relate to.
Oh my God. Yes. Yeah. Everybody we know has a grandmother that passed away who cooked in the kitchen, right? And you hear that a lot from all the mediums. I feel your mother, your grandmother, she's cooking.
There's a big wooden spoon.
Yeah. Moving this. Yeah, we get it. It's when you take that message, and this is how the spirit world works, at least from my vantage point, and you bring in a depth to that message, like he's showing, like Buddy is showing in the purple papers. You take it to a much different place. You know, you take it to a much different place than it was supposed to be.
Yes.
Roland.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I get 3 ideas now for you. I'm going to throw at you.
3 ideas. Go ahead. I got notes. I'm taking notes. Go.
First off, I think like when you pull off something like that, someone you strike a chord with somebody. Well, here's the seriousness, and then here's my comedy bit. The seriousness is that I think that if you can do that for 1 out of 10 people, 1 out of 100, doesn't matter. If you can just do that for one person, that's a walk off. That's like that right there is more than worth anything else. Like the fact that you can do that to somebody, you can give them hope, give them anything. whether you're telling them something that is real, fake, whatever anyone else wants to call it, if you can change them, then you did what you set out to do, the mission. Second, you should call your group. Now, you guys remember the Vikings, correct? Minnesota Vikings?
Here's the joke.
You guys,
Prepare yourself.
you guys should be the Purple People Healers.
Oh,
The Purple People Healers. You have no idea how great of a name that would be for your team of the Purple People Healers.
oh, that's
Healers. Healers. I got to make sure I say healers correct because I want to say the thing. And then lastly, Roland, dogs' eyes prove to me that they have souls. They're going with us. Like in the last year, I've had so much proven to me that I just don't tell anybody like what I'm dealing with or what I'm going through. I keep it in my own head because no one's going to believe me. I won't believe me. But I'll tell you what, dog's eyes, I wanted to bring that up to you because I saw your dog. When you look at a dog's eyes, if you can't look at a dog's eye and tell that they're on the same level, if not smarter than us, then you're not really looking in their eyes.
That's the truth.
Right. Yeah.
That's the truth. And if you look deeply into a human being's eyes and you can't see something there, then you're missing the whole point. Also, I remember being on a talk show once, and the guy that was the other guest was a vet who didn't believe the dogs had souls. Oh my God, the guy and I had it out because I never heard anything so ridiculous in my life. And how they peered me with this bozo. It was so insane. It was so insane. But you're right. The dogs, God,
The eyes.
they're there. They're over there too, by the way, wherever there is.
That's a good feeling. See, that's one of those feelings I enjoy. Because I'll be honest, everyone I've talked to about you has had glowing remarks. I mean, I tried as hard as I could to get some negative stuff, but nobody would do it.
Well, I got a few names. I'll give you names. It's fine.
Apparently, they're not on my friends list because everything was so. Here's the thing, too. Not only positive, but you're one of the few people that I've heard of that have had those moments where people remember the moment. So even if you don't remember it, what you did for them is such a moment that it's like, that's why you support someone who does what he does. Whatever it is that you think, it doesn't matter because look what he's doing. Buddy, you back me up on that, what I'm saying? Like, it matters the end result.
The end results are absolutely incredible. Anybody you ask who has seen Roland, even if you go there and you have no experience whatsoever, just to witness other people's experiences, it's like super heartfelt, and you can feel the emotion in it in almost everything.
And Joey, I'm sorry, Dave, you want to talk? Your finger's up. Go ahead.
Yes, my finger's up. I just have to share my story and I tell this to everyone who asks me about a medium. First time I saw Roland was in a little store, White Light bookstore in Cranston. Okay. And the owner told me, Dale, you want to see a good medium? And I'm like, yeah, I've seen mediums before. They're really general, whatever. She's like, no, you have to come see Roland. He's different. I'm like, all right, whatever. So I go. There was about 35 people in the room. He comes in. He starts off right at the beginning, goes right up to this poor girl in the back of the room. She looked like maybe she was 21, 22. Goes up to her. He says, okay, so your grandmother's standing behind you right now, and she's a little upset because if you go home in your bureau on the left-hand side, the second drawer down in the back is her necklace, and you haven't been wearing it, and she's kind of pissed off. So you might want to put it on. The girl's face was just, okay, yep, that's where it is. That's how precise Roland is. And he has never done anything less than that since I've seen him. And I don't know how many times I have been lucky enough to have seen him live, but that is Roland. Roland is amazing to be with. His energy is so powerful. It's crazy. Roland is so gifted and so precise. It's crazy. I'm sorry. I just had to share that.
So excuse the phrase, but the devil's in the details when it comes to things that Roland says. Like, in other words, He says things that you're saying that they're just so detailed. It's like,
there's no way he could guess it. There's no way he could guess. There's no way he could guess. He told Buddy exactly what Heather's last words were. He told me what side of the bed I was sitting on to hold Heather's hand for the last 2 days of her life. There's no way he would know this stuff. This
He
is what,
if I could go on and expand on Dale's point a little bit, another purple paper that Roland gave me in July of 2019. See that in the corner there?
Yeah.
So my wife's name was Heather, but I called her H.
Oh, you
Right?
did?
Amongst other things, that was always our nickname in between each other.
Oh,
And
my
that's what he
God.
put on the top of the purple paper.
Wow.
Right?
Wow.
It says, guess what? I saw ghosts when I was in the hospital, or should I say shadows. It was hysterical. It was so crazy. I need to keep sending messages to my guy. Well, he needs them. How is the dog? Which was, the dog passed away in September, which he did another purple paper message on, but I digress. Heaven is for real, and I don't mean like in the movies. By the way, I did not have much pain when I left. But the H, like, that's just captivating. For someone like myself, it's just captivating because that's the most intimate memories, most intimate experiences you have with a person. Between you and that person, how the hell does this guy know about this shit?
exactly.
You know, I think people don't understand that at 99% of these events, I purposefully do not take registrations. I don't handle any registration. No one on my staff does. No one on my team does.
Right.
We've never done it.
Right.
So that no one says that I've checked you out online and all that other stuff. I remember this one time, this woman named Mary, her name was Mary, and I walked up, I was giving her a message. Oh my God, how did you know about that? She said, what did you do? Check me out online? I said, Mary, go type in Mary. Let me know what you find. I mean, you know, you're going to get Mother Mary maybe first, or maybe, I don't know. But the reality of that is I don't know. I just know that we're there for a purpose. We're more than just the physical vibration. I believe they are willing and ready to give us messages. It's up to us to try to mold into a new understanding, a new awareness, a new connection. And if we can do those things, I think that we could have a very profound experience with our loved ones.
Absolutely.
I think we need a deconstruction of words and terminology, and that would help. Well, no. What I mean by that is, I don't mean like stopping or suppressing words. I mean in changing how we everything's paranormal, everything's this, everything's that. Something, if it's religious, well then it can't be this. Well, why not? Why can't it be both? Like, why can't we start to figure out that maybe, you know, they both connect? So the biggest thing I want to ask is when someone loses someone, right? And they get to that point where they lose faith. So if there's anybody that's listening that's ever been at that point where they get so down on losing someone that they give up on God, they give up on what they believe in, they give up on everything, technically. What's a message that we can give to people at that moment to think of? And I'm being serious because the question I get asked the most all the time is, you know, like, if something happens, like this happened to me, and you know, it was all completely gone. Everything was lost. I was numb. I was this. I was that. And that's the moment that I'm most worried about anyone being in. So when they lose somebody, grief is a bitch. It's the worst. It people say it goes away. It never goes away. It just deadens eventually, right? But it's always there. Now, again, I'm sorry. What would you tell them?
Well, I wouldn't say anything to change them. I would sit there and be with them. I would just be with them and not say, here's the magic recipe to get you through your grief, because there is no magic recipe to get through grief. And there's not one thing that a guy like me can do to tear away your grief. The best thing that I could do, and the best thing that I could do in these audiences, is just be there and be the best that I can as a human being. Forget about a medium and all that other stuff. Is to be the best that I can. So when I don't have a message for someone, I go hold their hand. I put my arms around them. That's what this is about. So if someone comes to me, forget it. Forget about, you ask me a question, what can I say? All I can do is be there for them, is stand by their side, is listen to what they have to say, not to change their mind. A woman came up to me once and said, I lost my 13-year-old daughter. There is never going to be anything you can do to take my pain away. So you know what I did? I sat with her. We said nothing. We just sat there, and I was in front of her. I was believing in my head, and maybe it's the world I live in. Maybe I live at the edge of a branch. All right, I live at the edge of a branch, but I live there with this idea that if I sit there with her, maybe she'll feel just a little bit better because of the humanity that exists in that moment.
Yeah.
That's what that's about. You know, I'd like to say time heals all wounds, but I would be furious if I heard those words, because those words don't make sense to me. Love, and only the experience of love, or the memory of love, or the reconnection of love after a period of grief, will allow the presence, the loved one, to be there again. But
Now,
you're going to walk through that, Mike.
Roland, I've walked through it. I've walked through that door several times. Now, the losing of a mother by a son. I want to ask you about this. It's almost like losing Google. It's like if they took Google off your computer.
That's a great analogy.
You know what I mean? Like you no longer have that person to go to for those questions. Like, hey Ma, who's our cousin that fixes pipes? Oh yeah. Hey Ma, who's the? You know what I mean? So like that experience. A lot of guys that I know that have lost their moms are they go through the same sort of thing. It's completely being lost. It's not having the North Pole. You know what I mean? It's not having it just doesn't point north anymore. So like someone like that, I get what you're saying about the whole listen to them, because obviously that's the best you can do for somebody. But like, is that the kind of person you want to send to a reading?
No. That's the kind of person you really just want to sit down and have a conversation with and let them share what they're feeling. I'm a son who's lost his mother. I know exactly what you're talking about. I know the depth of that pain. And I love your analogy about the Google experience, that, you know, when my mother passed, like many people who may be listening, Google died that day. The one place where you felt safe, protected, connected, alive, the one place where you felt your breath, where you knew where you came from and you knew where you were going. And when that person passed, we disappeared. We broke apart in pieces.
Yeah.
I think if you're going to go to an event like that, or an event like mine or someone like me, it should be an event with more people so that they can see the interaction between sons and moms and children and their parents, because that connection somehow breeds positivity or possibilities, actually.
So the nerve can be too raw. The nerve's too raw. Like, in other words, like someone like that, someone I know had both their parents pass within like 4 or 5 months. And I mean, you know, I'm not super old. I'm old enough. But at my age, I hear one of my friends lost both their parents within a couple of months. It's like I immediately had to call him to talk to him, because I kept saying to my other friends, he's not going to be all right. Like, he may sound all right, but in about a week, it's going to come to him that he has nobody to call anymore. Like, he lost them both. So it's good to know when not to bring someone to a reading. And I'm being serious about that, because I feel like when someone's in that moment of grief, or at least the person I'm talking about, they thought of any possibility they could do to help themselves. And I was like, what you really need to do is just talk it out, have somebody listen, start off with that first. That was my advice, but you know.
And let them tell you when they're ready to do something like that. Let them tell you when they're 9 times out of 10, when someone is pushed into an event and they're not ready to be there, it's disastrous. So let them tell the story. Let them say when they're ready to bridge that gap, because that's a difficult thing to do.
But I doubt. Buddy, you're up again?
Yeah, I just want to touch upon something Roland said a few minutes ago about how they don't schedule events and they don't know any of the names of any of these people. So my organization, in the background, you see Ocean State Paranormal, that lovely license plate. We've hosted a few events to raise money for historical organizations in East Greenwich, Rhode Island, one being the Barnum Memorial Armory. Roland did 2 gallery readings there, and one at the old Kent County Jail in East Greenwich, Rhode Island. So, which is since sold and whatnot. But I remember the event at the jail. We had sold out. It was just pre-COVID, and there were about 88 people there. and there's a small room up in this upstairs in this old colonial age jail, and we filled the room, and it was amazing. And I remember saying to my mom right before I left, she was going to go there. She was going with my dad, and I said that there are the 88 tickets sold. There are 15 people that knew Heather, that wanted to go, that wanted to have a connection with Heather. And wouldn't you know, when Roland got up there and started talking about Heather, he's like, don't think that just because this is your event, I'm not going to come to you. And he came right to me, and he started talking about Heather. He said, there's 15 people here. And they weren't all bunched together in one group. They were all spread out throughout the room. He went around to each and every one of these people and had something so prolific to say to them, whether it impacted them then in the moment or it came to impact them later on a few years down the road. It's absolutely incredible. But Roland doesn't sell the tickets. I sold the tickets. I set the event. I knew all the names of all the people that came in. I checked them off. We all had an age limit. Made sure we saw IDs. We did all the legwork, and Roland just came in and did what he did. But he has no prior knowledge to know who's going to go there and who's not going to go there. It's on the event coordinator like myself. So.
The naysayers will say that you told me, but we know the difference anyways. I know that when I walk into that space and I'm carrying all these purple papers, I know that it's going to be exactly what it's supposed to be anyways, whether they are against that or don't believe it. So thank you for hosting those events, though. I appreciate it.
As a paranormal investigator, from a skeptic side of point of view, when I do use a medium, when I do have a medium come out, I will message them about an hour before I'm supposed to meet them, the location. So there's absolutely no time for them to look into anything. They just get there, and then some of them, they know the things they know, and it will blow your mind. It just blows them, and it continues to blow my mind. So I'm just
Joey.
So we were talking earlier about someone who may have lost a parent and when's a good time to go to an event or something like that. I personally, and I haven't lost a direct parent, I've lost a lot of family members, especially over the last 5 years. I personally believe that no matter what stage of grief you're in, going to an event like that, not necessarily going, at least if you're in that mind space, saying, hey, I'm not going to hear something for myself. I just want to be in a room of people who are also maybe in the same spot that I'm in and just kind of hear their stories and just be a part of that healing. I think that's important. But what I really want to ask is, for one, do you do one-to-one kind of readings? And if you do or don't, which do you feel is more valuable? Doing a group setting and letting a group of people kind of heal as one in that setting, or just having a one-to-one with somebody and just kind of really getting down and dirty as to what's going on?
That's a great question, Joey. I see the value in the group event much more than the private event. I've seen it for decades. When you see a whole audience gather together for one person that is so brokenhearted, the value of that is immeasurable, because now everybody becomes a part of the experience. Everyone in the room becomes a messenger. Everyone in the room becomes a channeler. Everyone in the room becomes a healer. Everyone in the room becomes something more. They become something that they didn't expect that they would be. What gets in the way are the expectations we put in going in. If you walk in with the expectation, I want to hear from Uncle John, and something else happens, then you may be disappointed. But if you widen or broaden your expectation and letting it be what it's supposed to be, that's hard to do when you're grief, right? When you're overwhelmed with grief, it could be something extraordinary. For me, it's all about that kind of larger aspect of what this can do, a larger aspect of what channeling and messaging and mediumship is all about. For me, it's never been about one person necessarily, though I want everyone to feel better, but it's about the totality of what's happening. Where are we together? How can we get through this together? You think people look at it as if I'm just walking on the stage doling out messages and purple papers, but I'm really aware of the audience as a whole. Are we in this together? Are we doing okay? And all of those kinds of things that are happening when we're together.
So those of us who have seen you work live know that it's not just you walking up across the stage. You are, it blows my mind. You are, you get right up, not into someone's face, but you get right up next to them. it's incredible kind of to see your demeanor. And I think, I don't know who I've talked to about this or who's brought this up before, but your demeanor changes and your mannerisms kind of change. And it's really impressive to see that kind of stuff live, especially coming from me. I consider myself very skeptical of a lot of this stuff, and both times they've blown me away.
Well, I've heard that before from other people. I remember once driving in New York, and I was driving by this hair salon, and I had to get my hair cut for an event. And I walked in, and no, I drove by, and something said, "No, go now." So I turned my car around. I went back in, and I sat at the chair. The lady's getting ready to cut my hair, and all of a sudden, her father is in my mind. Her father's there, and he used to drive a green Jeep, and I don't know how that ever, I don't know why I know that, but it was just there. And I looked to the woman and I said, "Are you open to things like this?" She said, "Yes." I said, "I have a purple paper for you in the car." I went in the car and I pulled out of the stack of purple papers a purple paper that told the story of this woman and her father's green Jeep. The lady sat down, she went pale, she cried, she was overwhelmed, she couldn't believe it. And then she said, "Wow, you did a great job. Wow, Roland, this, that, and the other thing." I said, "Don't put the accolades here. Put them on your father and give them to you for giving yourself a chance to really hear and feel and experience his message." That was just one story. Anyways, I could go on and on and on.
I got a question.
Yeah.
So now, is this the sort of thing that is best done in person? Like, all right, we agreed that it's better and you enjoy it better with a group. All right.
Yes.
And I get that because there's group healing. Like when someone feels better, you feel better for them, and there's just a happiness that it breeds. I get that. But as far as the whole time when there was that sickness, people over the internet, over Skype call, don't you have to be near somebody, or is it really just that you don't? I guess you don't have to be near somebody, right? Because you're writing down stuff to begin with that's just coming out of your head. So
yeah, I prefer being in person for sure over the Zoom things, but I've done Zooms throughout this pandemic, and we've had some interesting experiences, and many people receive purple paper all over the country that I never expected that I would meet through Zoom. But I prefer being in person because you get to see and witness and feel how palpable that moment is when someone is going through what they're going through. And as Joey just said, I'm not on the stage looking around trying to I'm walking into the room. 2 weeks ago, I was at the Stadium Theater. There were 700 people. I jumped off the stage, went up to a woman, and it went up way in the back. And it was about this guy's son who passed unexpectedly. And all of a sudden, I'm in front of all these people. I'm holding this guy. And, like I was kind of in a trance. And I said kind of humorously, "I bet you didn't expect to come here and get hugged by a guy tonight. But hey, this is the way it worked out for you, right? This is the way it worked out for you." And so I love that in-person experience by far.
Yeah. I mean, you know what? Maybe you should consider smashing watermelons. I mean, because it worked for Gallagher. I'm just adding like a little piece to it, like, you know what I mean?
No, Mike, forget it, because then he'll have me in. Well, he'll have me in HR, just like you're gonna have me in HR. I digress. I don't need it. I got enough going on in my life, Mike.
My second thought was like a purple piñata with like purple Skittles in it, and you just smash that to stop the show. Because I guarantee you, I don't care what age you are, if you see Skittles scatter, you're gonna go after them. I mean, my beliefs. Joe, what are your thoughts on Skittles?
I think Skittles are awful for you, and nobody should consume or put those into your body.
Thank you, Joe. Dale, you got a question?
Roland, we're talking about the amazing impact you have on all of us when we're at the events. What does this do for you at the end of an event? How exhausted are you, or are you exhausted at the end of an event?
I am in awe of the experience. I'm in awe that I had the opportunity to be there. I'm in awe that I had a chance to witness someone's experience. I'm in awe of an audience that can nudge just a little bit closer to a new reality. I'm in awe that their understanding and awareness changes. Oh my God, I'll never forget one of the mob guys up in New York, he's like this, you know, he's giving me the look like he's totally against everything I'm saying. And his wife dragged him in. They were part of a TV show, and he's, you know, and he's like this. He's giving me this look, and I should say I was a little frightened at first because the guy was giving me these crazy looks. And then I walked up to him, and I said, "Your brother wants me to talk to you." And all of a sudden, I thought I became Italian. And I'm saying, "Your brother wants to talk to you." And this mob guy sobbed. Like, the guy sobbed, you know? So I feel fortunate to have this opportunity. Am I tired? Yeah. Am I exhausted? Sure. But who cares? You know, I'll recuperate and I'll move on to the next experience. But hey, the mob guy feels better, so I feel better.
Well, you know what? Speaking on behalf of Italians, guys, if you have drinks, please drink. I am 100% Italian. And here's the thing. Italians are making that face because we don't want you to come up to us and tell us something.
Oh,
Make
please.
us cry.
Yeah, don't get me going about the
God's not the
Italians.
truth. No, we don't want to cry. So we're like staring at you, mean mug, like, don't come up to me. Don't say it. Don't say it. Don't say it. Then you said it. Look what you did. Waterfall.
Yeah, oh my God.
Waterfalls.
I know all about the Italians. I know all about them. You know, you have to walk up a little slower, but when you get there and you finally get there, they're totally on board and everything turns out to be for the best, you know?
Yeah, because we're I mean, come on, the nanas, the papas, everyone I know. Oh, stay away from that. The malarkey. Oh, wear the horn. I had so many pennants on my necklace. I had St. Anthony. I had that horn. I had this. I had all these things. No, I'm not kidding. It was like ridiculous back when I was a little kid. Like, if anybody talks about witchcraft, I couldn't play Dungeons and Dragons. Like, that's what we were. Now we're at a point though where, like, I think people are starting to accept more. They're understanding. Knowledge is being spread more. It's just something where they're starting to accept more. Now, the purple papers thing is where it goes completely left turn for me.
Right.
I don't know how you came up with that. I would never think of that. I admire that because a creative thing, to be creative, to get into that mindset where you're creative and things start to come to you, that's to me like the same as like meditation. It's that it's just you're just letting things come in. So, I mean, the purple papers is a great, and I don't want to use the word gimmick because it's not a gimmick.
Yeah.
It's a great tool to identify what you do to identify what you do. That's the one thing I'll say. We Joey, is that the best way to phrase it?
Yeah, I think I like the way you're putting it because
You mean you have a call legal, or I'm still talking and make sure I'm all right. Dale, do you agree with what I'm saying, like at all?
Roland, how did you start with the purple papers?
Well, because
Where did that come from?
It came because I couldn't like Joey asked earlier, I couldn't contain all that I was experiencing, and I was overwhelmed by the sounds, the voices, the images, the experiences, the everything. I was just so overwhelmed with all of it that I had to take it out. And then I heard the voice that said, "Write on purple paper." So, you know, we all look for the big dramatic moment. Wait for it. There wasn't any. No. The voice said, "Write on purple paper." So I started writing on the purple paper, and I understand why purple. Purple's the color of knowing. It's the color of this expansion of our consciousness. It's the expansion of our universe. And so if we look at color as a vibration, I saw it as an opportunity to expand that awareness or consciousness, that kind of thing. So it just started. I'm still holding on to the very first paper I have ever written. I have not found the Walcott family yet. Still looking for them. I mean, a few years ago in Florida, someone came up to me and said, "Oh my God, I used to live on Walcott Avenue." I said, "Lady, it's not yours. Lady."
How old is that
There's
one?
a lady there for you, Mike. Lady, it's not yours.
I want to point out, so some people like myself and Mike, we collect memorabilia. You know, there's never enough things that you can collect. There's never enough things you can display. Now, imagine having purple papers that you feel you need to give to people. And instead of being able to just give them to people, they keep coming to you and they keep multiplying. And there's never, you know, it's always just there always be that stack of purple papers and that need to, I don't know, that to me, that's just crazy the amount of messages, and it never ends. If I had to guess, it's
a never-ending experience. Now when I walk out into a room, I put the purple papers on the lap of someone in the front row, so they not only understand, so they get the reality of what it takes to carry all of this. It's physically heavy, but energetically there's a lot attached to this.
Yeah.
A lot of emotion. Yeah, imagine.
If I'm thumbing through this paper right now from this young kid named Seth, who passed in a very strange way, and he's talking with this very sacred message to someone about don't be alone. There's a heaviness to the way this person passed. Or when I look at this paper and someone named Claire without the letter E, because everyone will email me and say, oh my God, I know Claire. And I'll say, did she have an E in her name? They'll say, yes. I'll say, it's not for you. This paper holds a lot of energy. And then this one holds a lot of energy. They all hold a lot of energy. They all tell an enormous and extraordinary story that love is what matters the most.
Absolutely. Can I just speak on that just for a second? The first paper you ever gave me, 6/28/19. I don't know if you guys didn't see it. It's like a square. It's like a stick figure in the middle of the square, and there's 11 stick figures around that middle bed, right? So that would be my interpretation of my wife when she passed. She was in ICU, and they took her off the machines, and she passed peacefully. There were 11 people in that room.
Oh, wow.
And I mean, there were a whole bunch of people outside, but there were 11 people in that room that day. In the
Around
room.
her bed.
And you depicted that perfectly just a month after she passed. So, I mean,
how can anyone even make that? I mean, on my best day, that cannot be made up.
Right.
Even if I was talented at making things up, you can't make that up.
And the detail of that, like that first purple paper, it's still this. I was just reading it. I was just starting to well up again.
That alone
I just can't.
Power.
It's just so personal. It's so intimate.
It's so intimate. It's so powerful. And for you, at some point, it becomes transformative. Mm-hmm. It takes you from where you were in your grief and suffering. It takes you away from that on some level and pushes
it gives us that hope, Roland. That's what it gives us that hope. I'll give you one more example of that hope. So the last one I ever got from you was this past year. You had done it in July, and there was all that mystery, whether it was her. A lot of people said, oh, that's Heather. That's our Heather. And you're like, I don't know. It might be this or the other. We went to see you in Untitled. That was September. That was 5 days after my dog died. She got put down because she had cancer really bad. But it's the same dog that you had mentioned when Heather said, and you gave my mother a purple paper that said, I have the dog.
Oh, wow.
It still absolutely blows my mind. But this one, Heather has been trying to send you new messages, new signs. I had a great life. Now you must live yours. I love you all so much. I know you were in shock. I knew you did your best. I know you honor me every day, and we do, because we recently put together a list of her all her recipes. She had like hundreds of recipes, and we made a cookbook.
Oh,
and
wow.
we put it out to the family.
One of the best gifts I've ever received.
Yeah, months before that. And so to receive new signs. So two of her best friends, one of them, her friend Erin, she on her phone, she'll get a photo of the day. She's gotten it like 4 times since she's owned the phone. 3 of those times it's been Christmas Day, it was Heather's anniversary, and it was a day that I was looking for a message, and she got her face as her picture of the day.
Oh.
I think that's coincidental. Another one was her best friend Missy, who has never had any experiences, was one of the 15 in the jail that night. She was sitting in her car while her daughter was in the dance studio. And you know how you get text messages on your phone, you're in your car, and it'll come up on your radio? It said, message from Heather. And Missy's like, she called me that night, and she's like, I didn't think I had any other friends. I always kept Heather's number on there. And she's like, I swore at the time it was somebody else. And I looked through my messages, and Heather's my only Heather contact. And then it happened again.
Wow.
And it was just like twice in like 2 weeks. It's just like these little signs, these different signs that she's sending, like you said that she would do, she's been doing. So it's absolutely, I got nothing else to say. It's absolutely amazing.
So Roland, basically, it's all about kind of paying attention to what's actually around us, all of us, more or less tuning into what's there as opposed to just glossing over it. You just happen to have a extreme gift where you're able to harness it, bring it all in. because what you're saying is it's just whatever it is that we're talking about is everywhere. Everyone else has the ability to speak with past loved ones if they can somehow focus it and get it to where, I don't know, at any level. I mean, I'll be honest, I don't know what it takes. I don't know how dams break. I don't know how things start. I just know that once you have one thing happen where you go, you're good. Like, that's a great feeling to know that someone else is somewhere.
Yeah.
Is one of the greatest feelings, or at least for me. Like, to know now that, like, I know that my mom's here, that she's good, my dad's fine, these people are fine. Like, that's a big burden to take off of people.
Yeah. It is. You know, I happen to live an observant life. I see the tiniest little yellow flower growing from the grass. I see the change in season. I see the faces of the people I meet. I live a very observant life. And the more you live an observant life, the more that you are going to be able to connect to and communicate with that exist out there, you know. And wait a minute, before we go any further, out there isn't up there, it's everywhere. It's right here, you know. It's not up there in some cloud, you know. I will never believe that my mother's laying around on a cloud, you know, sipping champagne or something. I don't buy it. I think she's everywhere. I think they are everywhere and always a part of us. So live an observant life, Mike.
I think my mom could be everywhere. I think my dad, though, if he had the choice, would be on a cloud sipping like a 7 and 7.
Well, that's true. You know, that's interesting. That's very funny. Once there was a guy who said the same thing. I said, you know what? Your mother's over there, but your father, he's at the his father was out playing golf somewhere. That's the way the message came. And the guy laughed his head off because he expected it to be that way.
Well, I mean, I had a mother who said, I'm going to haunt you guys for the rest of your lives. I mean, like, she was like, I want to haunt you so much you're gonna know, like, in a threatening Italian mom sort of way. I mean, she meant it with love, but it was like
a cold chill still ran down your spine.
Yeah, and because you know what, she still does. She's been doing it. She does things that make me. I try to ignore it, and then she does something else. I try to ignore that. She does something else. I try to ignore that. Eventually, I get to the point where I'm so mad at her, right? And it feels like that's started. Dude, you guys,
his internet connection just kind of froze there as you're telling us how mad you are. I'm like,
did it freeze?
It just blinked. It just. Observant lifestyle.
I was about to tell you about something super secret, but thank God it froze. So I'll let me. I digress. Woo! I got out of that one.
Your mother is trying to get you to think. She's trying to get you to see. She's trying to get you to hear. She's trying to get you to feel. She's trying to get you to experience. And every little thing that happens to you, it pushes you further along in your expansion of her and your relationship. That's the point. I think my mother and I still have a relationship. I saw her sitting on the chair, months ago. I don't see her every day. I don't get mad at her because I don't see her every day. When she was alive, I didn't call her every day. Used to be a pain in the neck. I didn't call every day.
I had to run errands.
Right, you had to run errands. Right. I had to
every day.
Yes, and I had to go up there and take care of her diabetes and all that jazz. So the relationship is built in love. Yep. And however that love is expressed, and if your mother, Mike, is leaving you these little things, you better be paying attention, because someday you might just feel a little something from your mother and her way of communicating with you.
Yes. Yeah.
Listen, so check me out. What you're saying, though, is true. So, like, your relationship with your mom, it's not gone.
No.
Relationships and love never die, just like energy can never die, in my humblest of dumb opinions. Like, once I'm in a relationship with somebody, I have a relationship. Once I love someone, that love never dies, whether they're here, there, in Alaska. It doesn't matter. It's the same thing, right?
Right. And I often ask people, tell me what you loved about the person that passed. And they'll give me a whole list. They'll never say their legs. They never say their feet. They never say their head. They never say their here. They say their heart, their soul, their love, their whatever. And those are the things we talk to. That's what I talk to when I'm talking to all these people.
Roland, on a deathbed, they never talk about the money they made, the house they bought,
No.
boat they drive. They always talk about the friends they had growing up, relationships they had, times they had some drop on their head. When did you spill? Remember the time you dropped raviolis on Uncle Robert's shirt in New York? That kind of shit. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
that's what I get, like on the deathbed, things like
Yeah.
that, those stories. So, but you realize that that's what's actually important. And the one thing we've been pitching with this whole website, legitpodcast.com, with all the different paranormal shows we do, it's like now 6 nights a week, is that it's such a paranormal, the way I guess we see it, is so personal. It's such a personal thing. It's not meant like, I don't know how to say it. When they really over commercialize it, they do it injustice, because there's something that you're doing that on a personal level, that's what you need to focus on, is how you're changing someone. People should be less concerned about what color the cards are, less concerned with, oh, is he real? Is he not? Is he real? Is he not? And more concerned with the results, and just seeing one person change their lives, live a better life, learn from what you said, be inspired, what have you. Again, like I keep saying, just one time justifies the whole time you've been doing this. Just one time.
I will never forget this young kid, 18 years old, I met in Jay, New York. Further out, somewhere up there in upstate New York.
Where no one goes.
Yeah, somewhere up there. And I was at an event doing my thing, gave the messages, did whatever I did. And a year later, I get a letter from the mother. And the mother told me that the night that I was there and the audience was there, and we all took that kid in our embrace, he was saved, she said, because the night before he wanted to kill himself. Because his father said things to him that he needed to hear, that he needed to feel, that he needed to understand, that he needed to experience. And she said, he's working, he's got a job. And she gave me this beautiful letter of the things, of all the things that he was able to accomplish because of one moment where collectively we all did something for that kid.
Yeah, it's to be commended. It's again, to me, that's what's amazing, right? Like the purple cards are uncanny and incredible. They're over here. They're like Bo Jackson. The cards. They're like almost unexplainable what they're doing, But the helping, the turning people around, like it reminds me like of a great quarterback, someone that would be there game after game after game.
Not Tom Brady, though.
Not named Tom Brady.
Definitely not Daniel Jones.
No.
I'm talking about Mr. Reliable, Mr. Eli Manning.
Well,
We
see,
don't have to
now
go
I
there
can't
either,
even.
right?
Now I probably
Yeah,
should leave because this
You know what?
conversation
I'm
is.
so happy I just said that. I
Ugh.
feel so good about myself. Roland, so let me ask you this. Going forward, what's the plan? Like, because like I keep writing down purple papers from the Purple People Healers. That'd be phenomenal to say. I mean, we'd all have fun. We'd all have fun saying purple papers from the Purple People Healers. Buddy, give it a shot.
Purple papers from the purple.
I'm not.
I can't do it, dude.
But I mean, like, what is it? In other words, you've got a positive message to spend. You can only spread yourself so thin. But what is the goal moving forward for you? Is it just one time? One
audience at a time, and just do what I'm supposed to do. That's it. I can't change the naysayers' minds. I'm not interested in changing people's minds. I'm interested in being there and being present for them.
Yeah.
Every radio show, every TV show I've ever done, they've all, and you haven't asked me yet, thank you, have asked me, what do you do to change people's minds, to get them to believe what you believe? I'm not interested in getting you to believe what I believe.
No.
I want you to believe what you believe, but let me stand by your side and do what I'm supposed to do as a human being, and that is shower you with some love and inspiration and words and encouragement. That's it. I can't change your mind. I cannot change your mind, nor do I choose to change your mind. No way.
That there's never been anybody's mind changed on the internet ever. They're just so cement fast in their statements that they, You just can't do it. So you shouldn't be trying to do that. But
No.
what you are doing, though, is you're still giving people what Buddy said earlier is hope.
Yes.
Hope, peace, but I think more importantly, hope. Like hope's a very fragile thing. I'll be honest. I'm not a big fan of hope. I think hope leads to a lot of, for me, bad things. But faith transitions from hope, I guess, at some point.
I think what we give them is possibilities. We give them possibilities to stretch beyond where they are in their thinking, to broaden their horizons, to think differently. And that's it, just to maybe help someone think a little differently than they were before they walked into a room with someone like me. Someone like me, we're all somebody's like me. Every person in this room right now, and everybody listening to this show right now, have all had moments. All can tell a story of something little they felt or something big they felt. Everyone can tell a story. And so it's all of us. It's not one person. There's not one book that says Roland Comtois.LIVE TONIGHT. That's ridiculous. It's all of us. We're in this experience together, offering possibilities. That's what this is.
Roland, you did one of the more popular YouTube videos to pop up when you type in your name is one you're on like this local news daytime thing, and the blonde anchorman, I call him an anchorman because that's just what he looked like. He couldn't wait to pounce on you with biblical force. And I gotta be honest, man. I more appreciated your matador approach to his advances more than anybody else. I like defensive boxers. I like guys who get inside too, like a Frazier, that kind of guy, Hagler. But I'm a big fan of defensive boxers. And what you did to him was verbally defensive, like in a sense of like, well, doesn't it say in the Bible that you can't believe in this? You can't talk to spirits like this. And you were like, yeah, well, here's blank, 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 whatever it is, John blank, whatever, Ezekiel's blank. Like then he still came at you with like you could, like when he came up with the second one, did you not feel, not even just being a medium, just being a person, did you not feel that he did his homework to try to get you on something religious? Because by the second time he shot back at you with another religious quote after you hit him with two, I'm like, this kid came loaded. This is a setup.
Well, there is a wonderful religious quote, Corinthians 12:4, that says everyone has a gift. It doesn't say one person or another, and that we all have a way to express that gift. He never gave me a chance to say that. And by the way, that was in Maryland. Their way of thinking, I'm not saying Maryland, but it was in Maryland, and the guy was very religious in his belief. And that was the end result of that conversation. But he wasn't going to change my mind because he didn't believe as I believed. And I certainly was not going to change his mind. It didn't matter what I said. It didn't matter.
All right, so hear me out.
I just know that when I feel what I feel, I have to say it and share it.
You wear purple. I'll wear yellow, right? But with a T-shirt that says douche bag.
Oh, my God.
You get in those situations and you need to tap out. You hit my shoulder and I'm just like, guys, shut up. Stop asking them about this stuff. Move on. And then I just sit back and I shut up.
You know why you're wearing yellow in this scenario you just painted? Because you're working through intense emotional things. That's why you're wearing yellow, because you're in the midst of going through something at this particular time in your life that you're searching for clarity about. You're wearing yellow, and you bring that color up because it's a higher vibration energy, or you're trying to understand or reach into something new. That's why the color yellow you just brought out into this experience, right? Because you're working through emotion. Maybe you're not. Maybe you'll say, nah, I don't buy it.
That's no. Here's the thing. I'm not. I can tell you why I thought of yellow. I mean, it's really easy. Because the Lakers were purple and yellow.
Oh.
If you look behind me, there's a picture of Kobe Bryant. So I went with purple. I immediately go to yellow. Secondly, yellow is my favorite color.
Then you're an emotional human.
And that's why I would say douchebag.
He is a very emotional human.
Emotional, passionate, willing to push the boundary human. That's what you are.
Oh my God! Yes.
Yes. I am, but I'm honest when I say that I am. I'm going to be who. Here's one thing that you've got down. You got to be who you are, right? There's good sides of us and there's bad sides of us. I feel like if we suppress both sides completely. It's not, you're not even being you. So you got to have your moments where, like, you can't be super mean, but every now and then you got to be somewhat mean to close out like unnecessary stuff, right? You got to be able to handle business and get out of there. To be the lamb, you got to be the lion, right? So that sometimes that's what you got to do. But for the most part, I would think that we're hopefully mostly good. But you got to be a little bit bad. So what's bad for Roland? They're like, you leave the show, you pop open the shirt, the hair comes out, cool medallions, you start drinking, you drive your Ferrari around. Like, what? There's no like de-stress time for you, or you just always at this level?
No, God, there's too much work to be at this level all the time. You need a vacation from this level. Are you kidding me? You need to be, doing whatever you got to do. I certainly do a lot to de-stress after an event. I eat food after. And you may think eating food doesn't matter, but it matters in de-stressing and changing the energetic vibration. We're all vibration. We're all frequency.
Yes.
We're more than this physical being, as I've said 100 times tonight. So there's a lot of things. I paint, I do things to get out of my mind, and I escape into certain experiences, into music, I watch movies, all kinds of things that you do to get out of this space. I couldn't live in this space 24/7. It would be too exhausting for any human being to live in that space. You have to appreciate all aspects of who you are. That's it. And I happen to be a guy that tells the story that the love between us is so powerful that in this one moment, some message will come, some moment that will come to transform you, like Buddy has had and Dale has had and Joey has referred to us seeing or something. We've all had those moments.
Yeah. Guys, if we go around the horn to wrap it up, Dale, last question, last comment.
Roland, you've mentioned about the purple papers and people, saying, "Oh, I think that's my paper," and you're like, "Nope, that's not it." Do they tell you? Like, how do you know it's not the paper?
It's years of
cross again.
Yeah, it's years of training. I just know it in my gut, and I trust my gut now at this point. I totally trust it, and I go with the flow. And that's it. I trust it. And no matter how someone approaches me, because they approach me everywhere about that, I just trust what I feel. Great question.
Thank you so much, Roland. It's been fascinating tonight.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Joey, that was a perfect answer right there, right? Trust your gut, because it's like taking a test. Whatever the first answer you thought it was, just go with that, dude. You have a better chance it's going to be right. Yep. So what do you got, Joe?
First, I just want to say, it seems nobody else got the memo. I wore purple. It's my favorite color.
This is a purple shirt, Joe.
Yeah, looks blue,
here.
buddy.
I'm
Change
in
the
a
lighting
purple room, for God's sake.
Purple shit.
But I do want to say, Roland, as every time that we've been able to interact, I could listen to you just speak about anything that you're speaking about for hours. It's always just great to be in the same space as you. I always just feel just more light. I don't know. It's weird. It's hard to explain, but I just always just feel, as you said, you like people to feel better when you're talking to them.
Yes.
And I can honestly tell you, every time that I have spoken to you or have watched you do what you do, I always just feel brighter, lighter, and better. So it's always great to be able to converse with you, and I appreciate you coming on and talking to us.
So much. That's lovely. Thank you.
So, buddy, before you wrap it up, just so Joe knows, this is a purple and black and white dress shirt. I'm sorry.
It's amazing how now everything's purple. Oh, my walls are purple. My blue shirt's purple.
I'm sorry.
My walls are purple.
Fuck, Joe.
For the record, Joe, this shirt has purple in it. All right? It just does.
Look at the beer I'm drinking. Come on, Joe. You know this beer.
Joe, I'm sorry you don't wear shirts like this, but it's a dress shirt that's purple. Okay?
I don't own a dress shirt at all, so that's a fairly positive.
You probably don't even call them dress shirts. Go ahead, buddy. You're up.
All right. Before I go to my last question, I just want to say next week, not that anything could like top this week at all, but next week join us for Paranormal Investigator, filmmaker of the Real Conjuring House, the Harrisville Haunting. Joe Vitale will join us next week live at 7:05. So, Roland, one of the big maybe disagreements. I feel differently than Mike does. Mike's maybe more idealistic, and I'm maybe more concrete. Whereas he believes all children go to heaven, and anything that's comes through as a child is like demonic or something faking. Where I believe that children can exist in the afterlife. What are your thoughts?
I don't. I guess yes. Yeah. Children exist in the afterlife. Are you speaking before they are born or after
He
they
means when
pass?
they're haunted. They're
Guys, when
stuck
they're
and they're
10 years
haunted.
old, do they hang out? Do they get stuck in a place?
Oh no way, no way. I don't believe that someone is stuck. No way.
Hey,
I don't believe
Get
a
outta here,
child is
dude.
stuck. No way.
it would
I-
not make the universe right.
That's a conversation. That's a whole nother show in itself, really.
Yeah, I'm sure it
Because
is.
that's an interesting perspective about what happens to the spirit after it's passed, and why is it that people like you guys or me, when I'm with you guys, why are we seeing the remnants of their energy, something called predecessor chi? I would really be interested in talking about that. That's an entirely different
Well,
experience altogether.
Holy shit in itself.
Buddy, before
Buddy,
you
why
Thank
didn't you ask
I'm
that from
sorry.
the
Thank you
start?
again for coming on, Roland. It's been a much anticipated premiere.
Thank
I'm
you.
sorry, Mike, for cutting you off. Go ahead.
Buddy, no, you didn't
Thank
cut me
you.
off. You just, man, I feel like, like a dog's waiting for the treat and you're holding it and he's just sitting there. He can't wait to get the goddamn treat. You just agreed with what I've been saying the whole time. That's what I've been telling you. If there is
I
Listen,
love
buddy.
everything Roland says. I still don't believe it.
in
I'm
my
still going
in
with
my
it.
head, I've seen it.
There's
Dogs
a child
and kids.
at Rose on the Patuxent. That's all I'm saying.
I would love to talk about that. That's a really interesting perspective.
But Roland, here's how I see it. Like the dog and kid file comes across and he just gets stamped and passed on and they go up. If they're stuck here, it's not, first of all, it shouldn't be. Second of all, there's people that claim that they can move people on. They should be going around the country in this big purple van. Let's say we're purple guys. And just drive around. They run in the building. They go, hey, and they get them passed on. Like, I refuse to believe the universe would allow that. So that's where I stand on that. That's my thick-headed dumbness.
There's something to say here. I got plenty to say about this at another time.
I digress. So, Roland, anything you would like to say before we wrap up? Any other
No, I
comments?
want to thank you for inviting me. I'm excited to have shared this time with you as my first interview coming back post-pandemic, and to all your audience out there, thanks for being part of our experience. I appreciate it.
Roland, it was a great time meeting you. Again, I had to actually shut down on people telling me about you because it was like it was best said like if someone kept telling you that, like, Michael Jordan's coming to play basketball, you'd be like, yeah, really? All right, then you go like this. So it's like, I didn't want to keep hearing all these high expectations because everybody really has nothing but great things to say about you. So it was really great to meet you. It's really great to know where you're at with this heart-wise. And man, I know it doesn't make any sense that I'm proud, but I'm actually proud of what you do. I hope you continue to help people. Even if it's, again, man, just to me, once you hit one, you're good. But the fact you keep going is amazing. It really is. It's amazing. And you know what? You must catch some sort of, I don't know, drawback, flashback, whatever you want to call it. What's it called? Pullback with the whole purple stuff and everything, because people in this whole industry sometimes can be catty or just, I don't know. But I tell you what, maybe that's what the issue is. Maybe me and Buddy and Joey will be the purple people healers, but you don't want us to come around, really, because you might need a little healing by the time we leave, Roland. Roland, I'm trying to say it to you right now in an Italian way without saying it. All right. I want to thank you very much for being on the show.
Thanks, everybody. I really appreciate being with you. Thank you.
I'm going to do a nice little wrap.
Thank you so much, dude.
Go for Roland Comtois, for Auntie Dale, I'm sorry, but that's what I like to call you. For Joey Paranormal, for Buddy Money. There it is, me, Mike Leopard King, Mike Gill. This was Legit Paranormal, brought to you by legitpodcast.com. We will see you again next Sunday. Thank you once again to Roland.